It might say it on the side of the ball, but is it actually good enough to be trending twice? Let's find out here on 10 Pin Life. What is up, you guys? Welcome to 10 Pin Life. In this video, we are going to do an in-depth look at the new Storm Bowling Trend 2. Before we get started, please be sure to like this video, hit that share button, as well as subscribe to the channel. I also want to throw a big shout out over to my friends at Striking Edge Pro Shop. They were able to get this ball in my hands on release day, which is awesome. Thank you very much to Dale and Rhino at Striking Edge. If you are in need of a new fit, new ball, anything in the central Wisconsin area, please be sure to check them out. I have a link to their contact information in the description below. So, the Trend 2. It is the 5th iteration of the signature line from Storm products. All 5 of those balls, the Timeless, the Drive, the Pro Motion, and the Trend, and now the Trend 2, have all been collaborations with Jason Belmonte, and each one of them has had a very unique shape, not only to the line itself, but also to the entire Storm products line as a whole. So following within the unique shape Trend, the Trend 2 comes in at a 254 RG and an 041 differential, which as it currently exists is the only ball within all of the 3 lines from Storm that have numbers even remotely close to that. The interesting part about those numbers is they're not high, but they're not low. The RG and the differential just right in the middle, and I think that what that's going to do is make this ball pretty darn versatile, number one, to release, but also to drilling. Over top of the newly modified piston core is the NRG hybrid cover stock, which had been previously used on the All-Road, the Supersonic, and the ball that many people want to see come back, the original Storm Physics. All 3 of those balls were pretty notable on one key variable: smooth transition. However, when you have that as a notable trait, what has been a common theme is that they don't last very long in the product line. The All-Road, the Physics, and the Supersonic did not make it very long. They didn't sell very well, so I'm curious to see how the Trend 2 holds up compared to its predecessors in regards to the NRG hybrid cover stock. So what do I think the intention of the Trend 2 is? Well, Belmo kind of put it best. He wanted it to be more from what the original Trend was. Frankie Lavoie threw 300 with it on TV, and what we really saw with that ball is that once you had to start getting left, it would kind of just lay there and start to roll forward and not really go left through pins. But similar to the Timeless, what I think happened with the Trend is when it was released, there was a perception of what the ball was going to be, and it was something else. Doesn't mean that it was bad, it was just different. So now the Trend 2 is going to kind of come in with these other expectations of probably what the Trend was supposed to do, and now I'm curious to see how that holds up. But as you can see, I don't actually have the ball. Let's head to the lanes, let's throw some holes in it and see what it's got.
Time for the Trend 2. This is legitimately the first shot I have thrown with this ball. We are on a used up, day-old Gateway Arch pattern. So I'm just going to get a feel for it here. I'm going to start kind of in a generic spot here, right about 20 with my feet. Floating it out to about 8 board, and then we'll see what she does. Alright. Definitely was a little bit weaker. Smells good too. Orange merengue. We're gonna bump a couple right, 18. Keep it in front of us a little bit more here. Do the same thing here, but we're gonna really just kind of hit it on it a little bit. You know, if you guys watch the podcast with Ashley Galante, she talked a lot about like rethinking her arsenal, and balls should be in pairs. I have a feeling this is going to come off the Zen Master pretty well. Interesting. We're going to roll this one out, see what happens. There it is. We are going to get it in the air to see if we can get it to be a little bit more responsive down lane. shake out of 5.7. Slow, very slow, seriously slow. You almost said it was a lot of ball, but definitely fitting more into the territory of my Honey Badger Revival. We're going to stand on 15. See, and that was really sharp. I am in between. The nearest comparison in the line currently is a phase 2. I'm going to stand on that 18 zone again. I just need to get a feel for what I'm dealing with on the lane. Okay, now I have an idea. And we're going to throw the Zen Master once here too. I'm just going to try and execute the same shot that I did in that phase 2. If you don't throw like shit. Apparently I hadn't been getting it far enough right. Interesting. It's like it's cleaner for sure, but it doesn't quite have a lot of giddy up. That's interesting. So we're gonna move to that zone that the Zen Master looked good. Easy rolling. Oh, okay. That ball just wants to be hucked into friction. I'm gonna throw the Zen. A lot stronger. That's just a great illustration of how much stronger the core is in that Zen over what the Trend 2 is. We're gonna move 2 left. That ball looks fucking amazing on this. Holy crap. All right, here we go. It's like, it's just that far behind the head pin every time. That much. It just needs a little bit more friction. I think I might hit it with some surface. Trend 2 with a 4,000 sanding on it. I'm just going to stand in that same spot. There's got to be something so close. Didn't throw that very far, right? Okay. No, it's just too slow to get that 10 pin out.
All right, let's just mix it up really quick. Let's go to a house shot for a little bit. Here we go. And we are back from the lanes. Just got done throwing the Trend 2 on a couple different patterns, as you kind of saw. So first off was that gateway arch pattern, and then the last few shots were on just our Tuesday league shot. Just set up the phone just to catch a couple different looks with the ball, especially because I kind of had trouble matching up with it on that gateway arch pattern. So as you can see from the comparisons to the Phase 2, the Zen, and the Zen Master, this is the weakest of those 4 bowling balls. So even though it has that NRG hybrid cover stock, which NRG has traditionally been one of the strongest cover stocks that Storm Products makes, the weaker core really just kind of lets this ball just be nice and easy through everything. It never really jumped, it never really did anything silly, but it also never really stood out. On that gateway arch pattern, it was super slow. It really didn't match up all that well. Once I chose to hit the ball with the 4,000 pad just to get some of that shine off of it, I liked it a lot more. It was definitely a very similar shape, but really just started to bring that break point to me a little bit more. Honestly, I'm probably going to hit this thing with more surface at some point. I think that this is going to be the actual benchmark reaction that the Phase 2 has been for so long, but just a little bit different. So what do I think are the best fits for the Trend 2? Well, there's going to be 2. One, this is definitely a transition ball. It's not going to be something that I throw on fresh, probably ever. I did on the house shots, but do I count house shots for anything? Not really. I'm probably going to throw something just with more surface on it. I'm going to stick with the Reality, the Zen Master, Phase 2, even working our way down, even to like a Hustle Ink, depending on where I want my angles to be. Just something solid, slow, easy moving. However, I really do think that this ball is going to shine when there's friction in the track. So when I really don't want to move really far left, I'm just going to be able to find a little bit of oil up front and then just throw it into that friction bank and not have to make big angles. And that was probably one of my favorite parts about the Trend 2. This is a really unique shape. I don't really see another ball in the Storm products line that can do what this ball does, which is always a welcomed addition to any arsenal. Now, the other best fit that I see for this ball is going to be for your tweener type bowlers. The numbers and the cover on this ball are right in the middle of the road, and I think for bowlers that are middle of the road in rev rate, axis tilt, axis rotation are also going to love it. Because what I actually found, and this was really interesting, is the more that I was actually able to stay behind the ball and just kind of push through it, the better the shape was, the more responsive it was. Rather than trying to wheel on it because I had to move left and really wanted to open my axis rotation up, that actually made it look worse. So guys that have that more tweener type ball roll, I think are really going to like it because it's all just about push it, have a little bit of axis rotation, a little bit of axis tilt, and just let the ball roll and get into the pocket. And it really didn't quit once I did that. So those are situations where I think the Trend 2 is going to shine. But what about where I think it's not great? Well, there's again two scenarios where I think maybe we should avoid this ball. Number one is going to be our release sensitive bowlers. If you are all over the place with your axis tilt and your axis rotation and your rev rate and getting it off your hand clean every time, I really don't think you're going to like this ball a lot. I really think if you're able to find the sweet spot with your release with this ball, you're going to be lights out. But if you're all over the place with that release, it doesn't really matter where you're standing because it's not going to do the same thing every time. The other trouble spot that I see with this ball is the same trouble spot that I have seen with every ball in the signature line from Storm products. This ball is not going to make you as good as Jason Belmonte. We don't bowl like Jason Belmonte. He puts these videos of him covering a pile of boards with this ball, and I think that sets an unrealistic expectation of what it's actually going to be good at. That was exactly what happened with the Trend. You know, he thought it was going to be kind of an angle monster, and what ended up happening was it is phenomenal up the boards and just nice and easy down the track, and it doesn't quit, and it just kind of rolls, and it's a great ball in that scenario, but that's not what it was advertised as. The Trend 2 is going through the same thing. It's being advertised as this board covering monster, a symmetrical beast, and I just don't think that's what it is. I think it's going to be another ball. It's a step up from the Trend, but it's not going to be one that you're going to look like Belmo when you just tear on it and then all of a sudden it flies through the spot and you 2-8-10. So I want to know, are you planning on picking up a Trend 2? How are you going to lay it out? You know, if you check out the vector system, maybe what are the numbers that you're going to throw on it? I did a 5-inch pin on mine, and I think I actually could have gone a little bit stronger with it. But I want to know what your thoughts are. Let me know in the comment section. Again, I do want to throw a huge shout out to the guys at Striking Edge Pro Shop. If you need a new fit, new ball, and you're in the central Wisconsin area, please be sure to check them out. Links in the description. But that is going to be enough out of me for this one, guys. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and don't forget, your best life is a 10-pin life. See ya.